The date is May 10th and the time is 4:30 p.m. So the first item on the agenda is reading of the board member oath of office. Do we have a volunteer?
I'll read it. I do swear or affirm that I will, as a member of the Board of Elections, duly attend all ensuing primaries and elections during the continuance thereof, that I will, to the best of my ability, prevent any fraud, deceit, or abuse in carrying on the same, that I will make a true and perfect return of such primaries and elections, and that I will at all times truly, impartially, and faithfully perform my duties in accordance with Georgia laws to the best of my judgment and ability.
Play ball. Okay, I think in the future, we're just gonna put Shirley next to it. And then we'll just, that'll be, we won't have that awkward moment of silence. So the next item on the agenda is to adopt the agenda. If anyone has any comments or concerns, the chair will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I so move.
Okay, motion by Mr. Kadir,
Second.
a second by Ms. Fambro. All those in favor?
Aye.
So raise your hand.
Aye.
There we go. Agenda is adopted. Okay, so the next item of business is the approval of the minutes, which were from the April 12th, 2022 regular meeting. And you will find those in your packet. Thank you. Okay. Does anyone have any changes they wish to make to those minutes? Right. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, motion by Ms. Till. We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
Second by Mr. Shirley. All those in favor, raise your hand or signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Minutes from April 12 are approved. So this is a first for me since I've been on the board. I think you're the only one that's ever had in-person public comment. But now that we're meeting back in person, we have public comment in person. And so the first person on the list is Jacqueline Elsner. Hold on one second. Do I need to read the address and all the other, just the name? Okay, go ahead.
You know, I recently sent an email and it's the pleasure to be with you in person. So a couple things I wanted to, I always want to compliment y'all because you're a board that works for integrity. And I really trust that y'all are conducting our elections as they're supposed to be. And, recently there was a debate between Governor Kemp and David Perdue, and Governor Kemp said, quote, "I'll never have regrets of following the laws and constitution of this state. When Republican candidates didn't win, I was as frustrated as anyone else, and we passed the strongest election integrity act in the country, SB 202. And one of the provisions of SB 202 is drop boxes. Drop boxes can only be for a county for 100,000 people. You can have one for 100,000 registered voters. They have to be inside your, well, for all practical purposes, they got to be inside your election office. They must be supervised in person at every moment they're available. And it basically meant the drop boxes were useless. And drop boxes were an enormous help. Georgia learned in the pandemic year what a huge help they were, but they've been used there many other places. And I watched y'all December 2020 actually look at the video of Dropbox deposit of ballots. And 2 members drove to try to identify the voter. Knock, knock. Did you vote? It is your ballot. 2 of y'all stayed. I watched y'all do that. I saw you honor the integrity of the drop boxes. Okay. And what I want to ask is that now with early voting, our drop boxes are down at East Washington Street. And y'all, your staff provides 100% customer service. You're so kind. And I believe if people come inside with their ballot, if the employees or the poll workers are available, they say, hello, voter, we'll take that. We'll process this. I want to ask, let the voter put it in the drop box, because you're going to help prove that the drop boxes are useless. No, looky here. We didn't have any ballots. We went every day, and there were 0 ballots in the drop box. So that's one tiny thing that I would suggest. You know. Anyway, that's and I just want to say how. As far as the other thing that came up quickly yesterday, the One American News Network had to actually make a public statement that they acknowledged there was, quote, no widespread voter fraud in Georgia in the elections by Georgia election workers in the 2020 presidential election. And it was part of a recent settlement relating to a defamation lawsuit brought against the network by 2 election workers. And that was pretty horrendous for Ruby Freeman and Wandria Shea Moss. So I know y'all conduct our elections with integrity and honor. I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So the next person on the list is Miss Victoria Schiffer. Schiffer.
Well, I was gonna say something, but honestly, she. had
What?
like this- No.
We can't hear
she
you.
did a great job.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't wanna
You,
speak after her.
you're a member of the public, so you're entitled to speak if you wish.
I appreciate that.
Okay, all right. And I know that I am still honoring email public comment, and I did not receive any. Did any other member receive any? So in the future, I think we'll do, if there's a longer list of people, maybe we'll do a timer.
Okay.
In the future.
Mhm.
So. Anyone has any thoughts on that? we can-
I think we have a process for that.
Okay, it's fine today, but
Alisa affirms that.
Yes, and the bottom.
great.
It's not like 3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah,
Mhm, it is.
but I'm generous on that. All right, the next item on the agenda is the director's report, and I see that she is back. Are you ready, or would you like to go later? We can jump around if,
I think I'm ready.
you sure?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
and if I may, before you start, there were 2 items we put on the agenda that we specifically wanted you to speak about it. You probably had intended on doing it anyway, but if you could speak on those
Okay.
2 items,
all right.
and the members that put them could probably elaborate on if there's any.
Okay, so starting with our activity report for the month of April. And good afternoon, by the way.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so we currently have 71,379 active registered voters. A total of 81,109 when we include our inactive voters. And I would just add that our inactive voters are eligible to vote. And once they have completed any kind of contact with our office, any type of activity, whether it's a address change, name change, signing a petition, and of course, voting, then they become active. But you remain inactive for about, I think it's 3 years. So, yeah, so when no activity, they will move into what we call a confirmation status. And the voters will receive a confirmation notice asking if they're still in the area or still at that address. And then upon completing that confirmation notice, that's considered activity, and they will go into an active status. So, and we usually do that in odd number years. So anybody who doesn't vote in any of the elections this year will go into an inactive status. Okay, and we have 63 cancellations And those are ones who have moved out of state, deceased, and felon removal. We didn't have any that were requested by the voter themselves. We created 56 voter IDs, which is normal for us. Last month was not normal for us, but because we had 35. We're usually in the 50, 60 range, so we're back up in the IDs. All right, my next item is an update on the precinct cards. We received a small box of voter precinct cards in the mail last week. And we placed those in the mail and automatically, just, instantly. We received confirmation from the Secretary of State's office that our set of precinct cards were next to be sent to our office. We haven't received them yet, and that was our update from last Friday, I believe it was. And the precinct cards, they're printed and have been printed for a while, but because of the large volume of cards that they had to print for all of the counties, the cards, they were running into a issue with them staying glued together. So they've hired some vendors, different vendors in the state who are working with gluing those cards. I got mine in the mail, I might add, and that wasn't because I'm the director.
Yes, okay.
I'm
Thank
sure.
you for the report on that.
But it looks good. I'm just gonna say it looks really good. But I'm hoping we can get our cards. I keep telling everybody, you'll get it before election day.
Not sure what we're wasting taxpayer money on arts and crafts.
Oh, yes, but anyways, so we expect the cards to come, and once we receive them, yes, we're definitely going to put them in the mail. And we're encouraging our voters that if they have not received their cards, to go to the My Voter page, and you can do a lot there. As you might remember that you were not able to do a lot with it early on, but it's pretty fast now from what I've been checking. So you can apply for an absentee ballot, verify if you're registered to vote, view your sample ballot, view your district precinct card, and find out where you're voting, where you vote on election day. But
And it works.
yes. All right, the next thing is an update on poll worker training, and Lisa's going to give you an update on that. And then we'll start talking about advanced voting and absentee balloting and such.
Okay, so we just completed training. We started poll worker training, in-person training on April 19th, and we ran through May 9th yesterday. During that time, we ran 20 classes with 6 different people participating in doing the training, in presenting the training. That went really well. We got great feedback from people about how the changes that we have made, the way that we're testing them, that was incorporated into the training, which they really liked. They liked the hands-on part of the training, which was something that they had asked for in the feedback from the last election. So everybody seemed pretty happy. Of course, there's always room for more improvement. In-person training, we had approximately 218 people come through, plus our board members and staff that came through and trained. Online training, we sent out 8 different modules that were tailored to the particular workers' needs, depending on the last time they worked and what aspect of voting they're working. They are finishing those up now. They have deadline of the 18th. There's still a few people that haven't finished, but they will. We have not gotten as positive feedback on that, and it doesn't really have so much to do with the training content as navigating through the course. It's difficult for some people to figure out exactly how to do that, and I'm hoping in the future we'll move to a better system for the online training, which we're working on. And that's all.
Thank you, Lisa. The next item is early and advanced voting. So I was gonna go over our statistical report and just to state how many voters we've had vote in person. As of yesterday, close of business, we had, let's see here. And I'll say that it's picking up a good bit today. From what I could tell, we've been pretty steady. But as of yesterday, we had 1,203 voters who had cast ballots in person. And for information for those who are watching, I would like to just add that we will have early and advanced voting on Saturday, where we'll be adding more locations, our satellite locations of Miriam Moore Community Center, Athens Library, the Tennis Center, and the Cooperative Extension Office. And those hours for Saturday will be from 9 to 5. We will have advanced voting on Sunday at the Elections Office from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then on Monday, we will add our last location, which is new for all of us, Winterville Train Depot. And then, yeah, I'm excited about that. And then our extended hours for Wednesday on May 18th till 7 p.m. at all of our locations. So hopefully we'll have some more voters come in and those numbers will go up.
And I don't think you mentioned it, but Saturday you can also vote downtown.
Yes,
So in
Yes.
addition to the,
yes, thank you. And yes, and you can only vote downtown on
Right.
Sunday.
Okay.
Yes, and we had 128, I believe, voters who voted Saturday, so pretty good, pretty good. All right, so our absentee ballots, we are mailing absentee ballots. And we have issued, as of the close of business yesterday, 1,334, and I believe about 80 or so were issued today. And Audra she's gonna add to that, but you have until Friday to apply for an absentee ballot. Friday, May 13th, and you can do so on my voter page. You can send the request to our office at votebyabsentee@accc.gov.com, or that application can be mailed to us. But one of the things we want to remember is that the applications are different. They are front and back.
Mhm.
You have to include your identification number, and it cannot be a populated signature. It has to be a wet signature. We're receiving some applications, and Audra's going to tell y'all a little bit about that. We have mailed 2,408 absentee ballots. Thank you, guys. And we've had 231 returned to us.
And that number is well over 300, a little while before I left.
Okay,
oh, okay.
And I left my friend on this paying for some money.
okay. You got anything else you want to add?
Just that when voters are completing applications over the next 2 days, please sign it. Please put your date of birth and your driver's license or ID number, whatever identification you're using. I need the date of birth. And a contact number, and make sure you circle what ballot type.
Right.
I've had to make a lot of phone calls to get what ballot you want, confirm date of birth, even though it's in our system, we have to get a verbal.
Yeah.
And document that on the application, so. And the other thing is on the back side or the second page, where it's opt-in of the application, you need to make sure if you choose opt-in, choose which applies. Is it elderly, disabled, you cover?
Yeah.
Some people are marking that and neither applies, they're not disabled, some of them born in 1993. But I still have to call.
Right.
To confirm it, so.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
At the end of the deadline on Friday, is there a cure process for applications that have been received but are incorrect?
Yes.
Are those people still able to fix their,
As long as they're there by Friday.
no.
You
So
mean the
all
application?
the applications you get up until Friday at 5 p.m.,
Yeah.
Mhm.
say 10 of them are wrong.
Mhm.
Can they then over the next few days
Yes.
cure that and still be
Yeah.
eligible?
Oh,
Yeah, until Friday of the election. So the election's Tuesday, they have till that Friday to cure it.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
to cure their application.
Yes.
Is that, okay,
Whether
And
cure
I'll be calling people to try to fix it for them. Yeah, if it's something like the date of birth. I just need you to verify your date of birth.
Right. Okay,
That's what we were told at our conference in March.
yep, yep.
All right.
Did anybody else have any absentee ballot specific questions?
I have a question on the earlier topic, just a quick
Okay,
question.
let's let her
Yeah,
finish.
let's go ahead and finish the
And
budget.
just
and come back.
specifically on absentee.
Okay, yeah.
Any, no more questions on that? Okay.
Okay, the next item is our monthly budget update, and we still have an election. We have an election, and we have postage to send out, and we have exhausted 95.5% of our budget. Operating is what I'm looking at. And there is a request to the mayor and commission that will be on their agenda for May 17th of a contingency request. So I'm pretty sure we'll get it. They're good about giving us what we need to get through, so.
Do you need or wish for the board to issue a resolution on asking for the money? Would that be more
It's
helpful for
already
you?
done.
Okay,
It's in there,
No,
too late.
when I see it, I go for
Right.
it, yeah. I won't bother y'all with that.
okay.
Okay, and Audra's gonna tell you how many open records requests that we had. Did you recall what that number is? One? That was it? Okay, so that's the only one that we have?
The one that's in this finance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do have two that I received as of Sunday, I believe it was, that I'll be answering, and you will have them in your packets the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, could I ask that we just copied on the answer or notified when they come in
The
instead of waiting till the next meeting to be notified?
so just
If a
send it to you
record-
an email then?
Yeah,
Okay.
just so we know what's
Okay.
coming in, and
Now, what,
I hate to see it lapse over, you know. I know you're taking action on them, but I'd like to at least know that they're coming in.
so like the two that I'm telling you about, y'all want me to tell y'all about those? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I know that you guys or Miss Taylor replied to them. If we could just be copied on a reply,
Okay.
would be helpful. I think we had done that in the past, maybe, I don't remember. Early or late 2020 time.
So let me just make sure I understand. So I think that's what I have there, isn't it? Isn't it the first page? Not that one, the one before it. That's the
So that's the
request,
person's request.
right? And then that's our response that's up under it. So
Oh,
not like that, because
sent
that's what I
via
did
email.
before.
But he's saying he wants them to the board to get it through email.
Right.
Okay. No, I
used to
didn't do it.
like that when I first started.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. We've never sent it to email, but I can.
Yeah, just. Not gonna like jump in there or.
I mean,
I assume the other members are not either, but
I don't do it because we get open records requests for emails all the time, so I try not to send as many emails as we do.
Right,
But if that's what y'all want, I'll start sending them to y'all that way, just copying you
I mean,
in the
that's-
response.
that's what I would like. I don't know if
Okay,
others have a different opinion.
I don't need a copy unless there's something legal going on.
Yeah, I don't, so you're saying you don't need a paper copy?
I don't need a email sent. I can be content for the next meeting,
okay,
but so.
all right.
So we're gonna continue doing
This too,
these
so,
two, or what do you want me to do? These two, or?
Yeah, let's do, so she gets her paper. I know it's like a little bit extra
But
work.
still send it.
If
go
you
ahead
wouldn't
and send
mind,
it to the whole board. Okay.
thank you.
okay. And that's all I have. Any comments or questions?
Hank was first, and then we'll.
Yeah, just a couple of quick questions.
Okay.
By any chance, have you looked at the 2020 election, not 2018 election, as to see how we are doing? I'd be interested to know if
Yeah.
that we are about the same, more,
Yes,
kind of
and
gives them.
yeah,
know,
I'll
tells
do
us.
that because I've been meaning to do it and I just hadn't gotten around to it. Every time I got ready to do something, here comes something else. But yes, I definitely will do that.
Let's go.
Because I think I have a daily report for
Okay,
2018. I'll send that to y'all.
You,
And
Okay.
then
And then at the end of the election, then we can.
send you
also-
another one for 22. Yeah, 2022. Yeah, I'll do that. Yes, and I forgot, there's one thing that you mentioned in your agenda. I need to talk about that.
Okay.
So it was concerning the update on the names given voter ID numbers. So this, I think the question came up from the presentation that was presented by our GIS department. There was mentioned that was some voters that didn't have addresses. And what we found, those are voters who have been removed from the system. So they either been canceled, moved out of the county, like the people that are on the list today, those people will be in that number. So their addresses would come up like not like a missing address, but they're still in the system. So, and they remain in the system because of the retention period, the state retention period, where the records are not removed to up to a certain number of years. And if it's not 2 years, it's 5. So they'll remain in the system, but they're not voters that's just sitting out there. They're active and we don't have them precincted somewhere. It's not that type of list.
Okay.
It'll be anybody that's deceased, felon, any of those.
In 2 to 5 years, they'll drop off though,
Right, unless we update them.
because there was such a large number, it was
Yeah.
alarming.
It was alarming to me too. That's why I was like, okay, that doesn't sound good. I don't know if that's ever happened because we have to run what we call a 9999 report. And the 99999 report are voters who have missing information who are active. And so what we do close to an election, we just assign them to the courthouse or to the courthouse so that they're number one, at least they're on the voter list. And then when they come to vote, they're going to vote out a precinct, because they don't know that they're at the court assigned to the courthouse, but they do have that eligibility to vote. And from that contact, we can get their new address because they're going to fill out a change of address card and we're going to keep them in an active status. So,
So you get their ID at that point?
yes, we'll get everything right there at that point.
Okay.
I know. Wait a minute.
8,713, that's a lot of
Yes,
people.
yes.
Yeah, it is. So those have accumulated between 2 and 5 years that have not yet been removed.
Right.
But they were all, if I'm hearing
Go
correctly,
ahead.
those are all, that number are the ones who they're not active. They're not people that potentially could show up and vote.
Right.
You were saying other people in the 99999 report are active
Yes.
who can do that, but
Right.
these 8,000 or so, right,
They're
they
not
wouldn't be.
active voters or
Okay.
inactive voters. They've been taken off the voter list.
They show up,
But still
Paul.
show up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Call us.
Oh, yeah. And that happens sometimes.
We've heard on the news, people that were born in 1900 voted.
Well, I'll tell you the story behind that too. So when a person registers to vote and when they were put into one system, their date of birth didn't get transferred over. So to keep them in the voter list, we have to put in 1900 or the system puts in 1900. So we've gone from what we call the legacy system into what we're now operating in the ENET system. And when it went into ENET, the date of birth didn't transfer over. So, and there was a time where it's been some years ago when we first went into ENET, we had to create a list and contact those 1900 date of birth voters.
You contacted them?
Yes, and they sent in what their date of birth really is. So we were able to update that, but then there were some people who didn't, but we had to keep them in the voter list. Yeah, so they really weren't born in 1900. That's just to keep them in to keep them in the system. Yeah.
which is why it's important to come to these meetings and learn how it really works. Ms.
Right,
Deborah, do you have a
absolutely.
question or comment?
I have a question about the budget. I was talking, well, first I'll ask you, have our 22-23 budget been approved?
It looks good.
Because I was talking to someone on the phone yesterday and this morning, And my understanding that some of the agencies in Athens-Clarke County already know whether their budgets have been approved. So I was just inquiring.
Yes, so it was approved by the mayor and it's gonna be presented to the mayor and the commission. So it's gotta go through that last step,
Okay.
but everything we asked for, we did get. And in
Good.
today's mayor and commission meeting, there's going to be an update related to the $15 hour pay. And my understanding is gonna be something that we should listen to.
I heard that we were included
Yeah.
in the study.
Yes,
Wonderful.
Manager.
Yes.
Okay, is that all you have?
Good.
yes.
Okay, Mr. Shirley, go ahead.
Yes, I have a couple questions just from the beginning of the report on, for the precinct cards. I want to just be clear, the delay is entirely from outside Clarke County, right? Like it is not, it's been the glue and the vendor. I just want to be sure. I know I was talking to someone this morning about how for the layperson, it's easy to lump us all in as they messed this up. But when you get down to it, we've been working as hard as we can with the stuff once we get it.
Yes.
We just don't have it yet,
Right,
right?
we did everything we were supposed to do as far as having it put in the ENAT in time and everything. And we submitted our order in time. And yes, it's just a matter of us receiving it. And we're not the only county.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so.
Okay. For the online training feedback, and I might have misunderstood, but there was some negative feedback about the online part of the training.
It's the navigation of the online part. There's a lot of people who really are not that comfortable using their computers to navigate through courses like that.
Gotcha.
And they've had some difficulty with
Gotcha.
it.
And I think I know the answer, but who creates and manages that online training platform?
Me.
Actually, what was the state thing? I'm sorry, I was leading up to.
Oh, no, it's kind of an ad hoc solution that we came up with during COVID, because we had to do online training.
Right,
So it's the same program that the county uses to make their online trainings, but it functions better when it's under a learning management system.
right.
You're supposed to import this into a learning management system.
Ugh.
And then all you would have to do is go to, hey, Adam, here's your homepage for your training. Go do it.
Mhm.
We don't have access to that. So I have to kind of lead them through how to do this and what
Gotcha.
link to use. Some people have had some difficulty with that and would rather not have to do online training.
Right.
But the majority of
Down the
them do.
road.
Gotcha. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
that's what that is.
I got you. Okay. So my next question is for the absentee ballots. I have two questions about that, and I see. Director Sosby, you okay?
Okay. That's what my little girl used to do, she get strangled, she'd come running. Cause she's supposed to
You okay?
hold your arms over.
Yeah.
Good thing we don't have a video.
Water with a bone.
Is it true that if I am voting, if I want to apply for an absentee ballot, I can bring my non-driver license ID? If I don't have the number to give, I can bring that to the office to get a photocopy. Our office will make a photocopy for someone, since we have to submit a photocopy or a scanned copy to send it up. Sorry, I'll back up a step.
You don't
Is it-
have to scan the copy in, you just put the number in.
If I,
But
so
what
if I don't have a driver's license, right? If I don't have a driver's license, I put the driver's license number home free.
Mhm.
If I don't have a driver's license, then if that's my power bill or
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
passport, whatever,
Mhm.
I have to get a photocopy or a scanned version to upload to the Secretary of State. Is that right so
Right.
far? So if I bring in my passport, or whatever is my power bill, will our office make a photocopy of that person?
We
for
sure
that
will.
person? Wonderful.
We sure.
And then since I have to have a sorry,
Or they can make a card for you, a voter registration card through the office.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
make cards.
They can do
okay.
that.
And now does that card have a number that I could then enter on my absentee ballot application?
Driver's license.
The voter ID.
Voter ID card that we will make.
Number is not as long.
Okay.
But people are writing it and they're putting a copy of their voter ID there. But
And-
it is.
They make a voter ID
Good to
card.
know. Good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
And then since is it true that if I can use the online upload thing for a scanned picture of my passport or whatever, but since it's a wet signature required, I have to get an actual end of the day printout paper copy of the application to sign. Is that right?
That's
And
right.
our office will provide that
Yes.
application, right?
With signatures on them.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, we're working with our voters.
Now, doesn't wet
Yeah, she's
signature
wrong.
mean it could still be, it could be wet, but scanned.
Scanned,
wet.
mhm.
So you could
Ah.
wet at home and then,
Scan it or
But
take a
no,
picture with your
but
phone.
no
on your phone.
automatic that
but
sign
no,
off.
Right, DocuSign, that kind of stuff. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
okay. Ms. Till, did you have anything?
No.
I have a
Additional,
quick question for
hold on,
the
please.
director, yes.
I'm gonna go and then we'll go back around. I noticed, that the active voters number is a lot different than it was in March. I understand if my memory is correct, which is probably not, there was somewhere around 78,000 back in March or maybe February. The number seems to have dropped off a lot from what my memory is, more than a few hundred.
Seems about the same to me.
Yeah, it's usually about the same. Do you have any of the other reports from other months? Active voters?
I can't get on my computer right now, but I will send you the previous months if you need me to.
Okay,
But, this month, it's normally around the same, it's normally around the same. It's not,
I believe I know, yeah, I think we
I
have been a
remember there
little
being
higher.
a 78,000,
Mhm,
but it could be a 74,
uh-huh.
but it's in the thousands difference here.
Right, it is, and I've noticed that too. I'll have to double check, but I've noticed that in our county, we do fluctuate like that. And I don't know if it's because of the students. I don't know what it is, but,
Well, there was
It-
one number on the report.
and it's done that years, like go back and look at 2012 and 2014. I've noticed it'll go up and down like by thousands. So,
That wasn't total eligible voters, the 78,000?
Could that be it?
mm,
Could that be?
Could have
active
been.
And inactive?
And
Could have
so,
been.
In fact, then it's gone up if it was 78.
mhm.
I think you're right. I think
Yeah.
it was
It
that.
was
Yeah.
probably that, yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad there's no
I think that's what it was.
crisis there. So that's good. The precinct cards thing is what a disappointment that has been, that
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
I look in the mailbox every day.
To have received them the first time and they still had the old districts on them, yes, it
yeah,
was.
I don't know why the Secretary of State's office decided right before an election would be a good time to,
They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't mean for it to come that way, happen that way, but
and then also the first day of early voting, the My Voter page was down, but now it's up and fully functional. And did they figure out what the problem of that was?
not at all. I haven't received any information.
And then I would like to say that I attended the training and it was wonderful, and kudos to 10, I believe
Oh, okay.
the person's name is, and Renee.
Okay.
They did a wonderful job. That's
Good.
who my trainers were, so. Just so you know. And
Thank
then, we have it on the agenda, but we had our public safety meeting. Did you want to talk about that, or should we wait till later? Let's just wait till later.
Okay.
So, let's go around one more time. If we have any other questions for the director. Hank,
I guess just give them.
I'm interested to know how often is our MVP card accessed by our county voters? Can you request the the Secretary of State's office to
Okay.
give us that number?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they would know, but I'll ask.
They should be, because I noticed that one of the flags is by the county. So when they should easily be able to give that to us. And if they don't have it, they can actually program it to get it for us.
and what was the question? What?
What is the access by Athens-Clarke County voters for the MVP card?
The site, people using
Yeah.
the site. Oh.
Ah, like traffic, there's traffic.
The traffic. Now, on the first day, of course, the staff was using ENET because, the ENET was down. So that's not a good indication, but I'd be very interested to know the other section. And a quick question is, I went through the electronic training. I thought it was pretty good. Can you tell us like specifically what did they not like? Just the only problem is that when you log off and log back on, you got to find that where you left off. It
Right,
doesn't.
It doesn't
That's it.
start, yeah, they were expecting it, if they got halfway through the training and left and came back, that it was gonna store their information, which it won't because it's only a web page.
Yeah, okay,
So they had to remember where they left off. That's a minor thing, but
that's a
that was
minor.
operator.
Ah, I got it.
Okay, in order to sign in, there's a Google form, so there's a certain process they had to go through to submit the Google form. The quiz is inside a Google form, and so those things caused some issues, and then the rest was just people trying to do this on an iPad or their phone, and it doesn't work well like that. I instructed them to use a laptop or a
Desktop,
PC,
Cable.
but not everybody has that, so it would cause some issues that way.
Okay,
Just
great.
update.
And a quick question for Ms. Perkins here. Have you been able to get, last month, we said we are all going to submit one name for the judges panel. Did you get each one of us to send me one?
That's actually item 2.
Two.
under
Oh, it
old
is?
business,
Oh, I
so
didn't see that.
we'll get there,
Okay.
Yeah.
but now she has time to get ready, so. There we go. All right, are there any other questions for the director? Let's go ahead and move on then. So, the next item on the agenda is, under old business, is public safety procedures for elections. And that was an item I had added to the agenda, and it was simply an update. And that we met earlier this month, late last month, I guess.
Yeah,
The police department, fire department, the sheriff's department, school district, library, election staff, and 2 board members, so we didn't have a quorum. And the attorney's office was there, and we had a great meeting. Everybody's on the same page. The folks from the various safety departments were quite happy that we were all together, and I think everyone has a better understanding of what the board hopes for election day, and the attorney's office did a wonderful job, Ms. Pappas, briefing them on some things they need to know. Ms. Fambro, did you have anything to add, or? Ms. McDonough?
other than I thought the meeting went well. And, the different departments do have a greater understanding of the communities in our city. So I'm satisfied and happy about that.
I could just add that during poll worker training, the managers were briefed on the emergency response procedures that'll be in their bags and how to handle those. So they seemed happy to have that available to them.
And also, one thing I forgot, the police department said that they'll make their best efforts if they are near a polling location on election day to be plainclothed, to be
Plain clothes.
nondescript as possible.
Unmarked car,
Unmarked, unless there's obviously an emergency.
something going on
you
that
know,
has been called in.
So everybody's good, and again, thank you to Lisa, she's like the superstar over there, of the whole lineup of superstars, so.
Yeah,
Just put that on the.
Yeah, and thank you to Lisa for putting that together. It was wonderful for us all to be. So the next item on the agenda is the board designees for the vote review panel and ballot duplication panel. Ms. Perkins, do you have everyone you need?
I am happy to say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 people, needed 4, but with them having different schedules,
Perfect.
everybody, we're gonna work it out. But I do have everybody that I need from the board.
Okay.
Do you want a copy of it?
That would be great.
yeah.
Do you also have what you need from both political parties?
I have what I need from both political parties. I'm now waiting on the judge.
Great. Well, that's that. Does anyone else have any questions or comments on that agenda item? Mr. Shirley, go ahead.
Is this? I'd just be curious. This is wonderful. I'd be curious, do we need to formalize our appointees, our designations in a motion? Or,
I think this is what we've done in the past.
Okay.
So,
and then my next question would be then, probably the motion can be kind of general, right? We don't need to specify so-and-so is gonna work these hours. Just these people will, right? That kind of thing?
I got
I'd be
you.
curious.
I got you. Any other questions? The chair will entertain a motion to approve these slate of people. There are 5 people listed to serve on the vote review panel and the duplication panel.
Want me to make a motion?
If you want to.
I'd like to make a motion to approve these people.
All right, a motion made by Ms. Till,
I second.
second by Ms. Fambro. Question?
I'm curious, would we like the motion to name the people or just say those names that were
I mean,
submitted by the board members? Like how much should the minutes reflect? These people were named.
let's name them. Would you like to make an amendment to your motion to
Because
name the
make an
people?
amendment To
Yeah.
my
All right,
motion that we name the people that have been appointed.
okay. Would you like me to read those, Mr. Secretary, or?
I'm copying them from the sheet as they are, but I guess for the audio recording, I might read them back out loud, maybe, or
Sure, I can read them as well.
go for it. Yes.
Well, first of all, Ms. Fambro, do you approve the motion, the
Yes,
amendment?
I
Okay.
second.
Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
The first person is Clarence Pope, and he is slated to be on the vote review panel.
Manoj Saxena.
Thank you. That's what I was gonna say, but I had to take a moment and make sure it was right. So Manoj Saxena. Ella Willingham will also serve on the vote review panel. Jesse Evans will serve as on the duplication panel, and Gail Cowie will serve on the duplication panel. So we have a motion, a second for a slate of folks to approve for the vote review panel. If the secretary is done scribing, we can take a vote. When,
I have it written down. Shall I read it back? Just to be sure I got.
please,
I have a motion by Ms. Till to name Clarence Pope, Manoj Saxena, and Ella Willingham to serve on the vote review panel, and Jesse Evans and Gail Cowie to serve on the ballot duplication panel for the May 24th, 2022 election.
all right, sounds good. All those in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Look at that, we did it.
Hooray.
Do y'all file this information? Okay, no problem. No, yeah, definitely.
Now that we've taken the vote, I'd just like to add one more comment to that item before we move on, and that a note for staff. It was a big challenge to find these people. I don't know what we can do or how we can adjust these times, but it makes it difficult for people to participate in democracy when they're supposed to be working. So I know you guys are working too. I understand the irony in saying that, but if we could do something longer days, I don't know. But for the runoff and moving forward, if we could come up with a little easier schedule on folks.
Okay.
I fully understand the irony in saying that. I understand,
Retired people.
you know,
I mean,
But-
and I understand, but we work late hours too, so.
Yep.
Like, a lot of us this is not it for us today,
I know.
you know what I mean? So,
so
yeah,
we can discuss more
yes.
for the 21st, but
And planning ahead works too, so, so.
I think.
do we have she stepped out. Do we have a tentative schedule for if there is a runoff? To hopefully keep these people engaged in
No.
doing this task?
We
Well,
don't have one.
We don't, but I noticed that, in having 3 people, all the days will be covered.
Right.
Mhm.
Great.
Yeah, but I don't think for the runoff we'll need as many days as we have.
Have had,
Yeah,
yes.
because the
Yeah.
turnout is
Mhm.
traditionally lower. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
The next item on the agenda is number 3 under old business, which is continuing discussion about alternate location for 4A to be considered after the May 24th election is concluded.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
would just like to add perhaps after the runoff we were just speaking about. Maybe wait to have that conversation until then.
and so I would like for us to, or for you guys to decide on a place, if you're going to use it, and advertise it at the runoff election.
Mhm.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which means there's a lot that will have to be done, of course, between now and
4A
then.
is the multimodal
Yes,
Center.
yes,
For those people that don't know what 4A is.
right. And I know you all received that information in an email,
And we
but I'm
did.
having them print the maps right now so that we can at least look at it
Yes,
and
Okay.
see if it's some potential locations that we could use.
yes, yes.
So let's leave this item open, or can you table it till they're done printing so we can move on?
I would say you can just amend the agenda to add that to the end of new business.
Okay, oh yeah, because all right. So the chair will entertain a motion to amend the agenda to move the discussion regarding 4A to number 3 under new business.
I'll make a motion to move number 3, continuing discussion to new business.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Till, second by Mr. Secretary Shirley. All those in favor, raise your hand or signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, unanimous, moving on. All right, the next item on the agenda is new business. And the first item is election day procedures. And that was an item that I had requested. And I believe I'm hopefully not catching you off guard on this one. I apologize if I didn't talk to you about this one, but we had discussed in the past holding an open meeting on election day. We learned that at the conference. One of Charlotte's colleagues taught us about that, I guess, at a session. I don't know. You had advised some procedures that we need to follow for that.
Right, I mean, if there is a quorum present, then there has to be an agenda, there has to be minutes kept, there has to be notice. Because that would be considered a meeting and it's subject to all the open meetings
Right, right.
act requirements.
It's too big.
Okay. Okay.
So this is just-
Okay.
So, Charlotte, did you have a chance to hear what she just said?
I did.
Have you talked to your colleague on what they do procedurally?
I did.
Okay,
Mhm.
Mr. Shirley, why don't you go and then we can circle back.
I was gonna ask Mr. Chair, it seems like,
We're sharing. There's one for you.
if, I wonder then, so if I'm hearing it right, the intent for this is to allow us to take care of such business that might come up pertaining to election while still being open and saying whatever business takes place will be in this place between these hours, and a record will be kept of it. There'll be an agenda. Am I understanding that correctly, Attorney Pappas? That's as long as we treat it like a regular meeting and that there's an agenda, quorum is present when business takes place, no business takes place off-site, that kind of thing with a quorum?
That's the point.
That's the point of
Because,
this?
no, that's the point that you make there.
Uh-huh.
Because on election day, I'm prone to ride around and see how the
Yeah.
poll workers are. And if they're okay, if they need anything,
I do.
and if we're gonna be centralized here and have to be here, we need to work something else out.
And that's what she does.
Is Paulding County a lot smaller than us, or is this about
No,
comparable?
they're about the same size,
Yeah.
if not larger, but they are,
They're more
they don't
rural.
visit out. They don't visit out on election day, my understanding.
Okay.
So,
So then, Mr. Chair, my
Yeah.
suggestion would be, and I'm asking to, sorry, I'll direct it to you. My question is, I wonder if we might, in the same way that if 3 of us had a phone call right now and we had to step out and answer the phone, we wouldn't be in violation of the law. The meeting would cease, like it would stop because we don't have a quorum anymore. We come back in, the meeting keeps going. So I wonder in the same way, if we might have an agenda that says at 7 a.m. or whatever time on election day, the meeting will come to order here. And the item of business is resolving election issues as they arise, and that's it. And while we're here, minutes are kept, motions are made, we conduct business. If we have to go out and scatter around and do things, the meeting stands in recess until a quorum returns, and we adjourn at 10 p.m., whatever time.
Sure.
I wonder if that might be a way to make this happen.
Thoughts?
Because under the rules, as I understand them, if a meeting lasts an extended length of time, they can take a lunch break.
Right.
Right.
So I guess the question is, can we have a recess in there? I think that's the shortened version of the
I
question.
think that she's going to be that continually opening and closing
Mm,
is going to be an issue. If there needs to be like a 20-minute break, then there can be a motion that everyone can vote, you can have a 20-minute break and come back, but to have all these unknowns of, I don't know how long this break is going to be, when we're going to return.
I see.
I can see that being an issue. I'm trying to look right now.
I mean, we're not the US Senate, but I know that they stand in recess for periods of time.
It's the
But I don't
main,
know if that's a Robert's rule.
I have a question.
Two
Go
or
ahead.
It's
three
the main,
recesses?
it's the main thing is to have a quorum here at all times. If that is the case, then we have 5 members. Are we glued to stop.
He's gonna be out of town.
Oh, okay, so we have 4 members.
Yeah, that's the challenge. of
But
this,
are we
too.
glued to, we have to have that same 3 members present? Or is there such a thing as rotating in and out?
And again, I'm not trying to push this in any one way or another. I'm
Me
trying to be
either.
proactive.
Yeah.
I'm trying to serve the voters and be available for any issue. So that's where this is coming from. So that's important to have this discussion and figure it out.
How many hours do we have to be here to have this meeting? Is it 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours?
Well,
What's-
my thought was the poll, 7 to 7.
Yeah, 7 to 7.
Further thoughts then, I see the point too, if the whole point of an open meeting is, hey, members of the public, there will be business being done at this time, come if you want to see it happen. And if we just stand in recess and just come back in at some other time, it's hard for the public to catch us when we're doing business.
Right.
So maybe then,
Yeah,
what if we,
yeah.
at any point during that day, we come to order, call to order at 7 a.m. or whatever, and then when we stand in recess, we will resume at a certain time and we stake ourselves to a
Like on
time.
the agenda,
And we stand in recess until 10 a.m. or
Noon,
until noon
right,
or whatever.
7 to
Yeah.
That way folks
7:30,
can come back and see business happen
noon
at
to
that time.
whatever.
I wonder if that might address that concern.
It's kind of like going,
That's something you probably have to let them know in advance, I guess,
I mean,
right?
We'd have a
If that's
schedule.
possible, we could
We'd have a
Post
schedule.
a sign.
schedule,
Right.
just like we do an agenda, but it would say,
7
yeah.
to 12. We take a lunch break from 12 to 1 or 2 or whatever, and then we come back at 3 to 4.
Whatever,
and then
yeah.
From 5 to 7, some schedule.
but yeah,
So
and
is-
yeah, go
is
ahead.
3 a set number for some reason?
That's the
that's
quorum.
a quorum if we have to vote on something.
So my teacher brain is saying, why not be able to have somebody here at all times? You just rotate one person out at a time. So say if Chairman Raffle is out, you 3 are here. When he comes back from visiting whatever precinct, one other person rotates out. You just rotate out one at a time so that everybody can go out and visit the precinct. But during the open times, there are 3 people here.
Right.
That might work. That might.
This just my old teacher brain.
Thank you for your input. Mr. Kadir, you haven't said much. Do you have any opinions?
Well, what I'd like to know,
What do you mean?
how many issues came up in twenty twenty that required the board to be here?
None that I was aware of, but again, it was COVID, 1. And 2, I think we're in a different time. I can't compare anything to 2020 or 2018 or
Mm-mm.
2016,
Mm-mm.
to be honest, but
Is it possible to convene a meeting with 1 hour notice? We don't have it, but everyone's got
it
to.
has to be
Mm-mm, no, that's
24.
24 hours.
That's right.
Be 24
It has
hours.
to be in the newspaper, it has to, there's a
If-
set of,
If the building's on fire, like there's an emergency meeting provision, right? But we can't use that lightly, is my understanding. Is that right? If-
There is
if,
emergency meeting provision, yes, it has to be.
Like dire emergency, right, right,
Well, it could be an emergency.
right. That's, yeah, so for certain, right.
So
Hmm.
maybe that's what we should look into instead of, because I just don't see how we can come to a settlement that's logistically feasible.
without some complicated schedule.
Exactly.
Mr. Chair, I wonder, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, how about we just have a handshake agreement that we're all half an hour, 20 minutes away from here,
Exactly.
and then if there's an issue come up, we can just clock in, so to speak.
Well, I mean, if an issue has come up, usually it's handled on the level where,
Right.
okay, yeah, we show you registered, yeah, we show your name was removed, yeah, but if there's a situation where I need y'all, I can just call you and then you could just.
Yeah.
Like that, because that shouldn't require a meeting
Okay,
unless,
But
we can say, we can address it in our meeting today at.
okay. Well, one, I don't want to, if you're calling me or any other member, I don't want to give the impression that we're acting independently,
Mhm.
right? But if it's a, you know, a
Right.
matter of
Just
non-emergency
awareness.
thing, a
Right.
media or a
Yes,
takedown of
right.
certain political candidate sign in the middle of the street, well, that's a different, that doesn't require a meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, at this point, my feeling is maybe we can just scrap the idea. I think it was a good intent, but
Mhm.
especially us having four, I think if not, please enjoy your time and on vacation, but
Yes.
I think if five of us were here, the logistics get much easier.
Right.
Because it's two people in a rotation.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
So, I'm of the thought that we kind of have just an understanding that we'll be, what most of us are anyway.
Exactly.
Any other comments?
I'm curious then, I get the flexibility, but I'm wondering if, is the kind of thing that might need to be taken care of, the kind of thing that needs a formal meeting to be taking place? Because it sounds like if we're going to casually show up to solve problems such as, help oversee or watch a voter registration thing or something be taken care of. But if it's a bigger deal, the kind of thing that would need a meeting, that can't work with us just coming together as a quorum real quick, right? That's the whole point of open meetings, right? I don't see how we can have it both ways. If we want to have a formal meeting structure ready, great. But if not, then there's going to be just casual stuff anyway.
I'm not quite sure I fully understand
Okay.
your question, but we do have typically a standing meeting on election day,
Oh,
which is
We
a
do.
separate topic that we can
ah,
segue into.
To 5:30.
that's right. Yeah, I've been
Right,
just
right.
one of those, right?
4:30 to 5:30 or something like that. I know it's about an hour.
Yeah,
Hmm.
4:30 to 5:30.
I can't remember what time y'all is.
I think it's that.
4:30 to 5:30.
I mean, and that pulls you offline and some of your staff. Is that a bad time? So I think we're gonna move on from this.
Yeah.
All day is a bad time.
Yes.
Oh, these are bad.
Anytime
Someone
we have to
said.
break away election day
Right.
is fine. I mean, it's crazy.
But for an emergency meeting, does the rest of the staff have to be here?
I mean, I think we just.
Yeah.
If you're there, then they all can,
Exactly.
We'll work
yeah.
something out.
Go
I'm
ahead.
just
I would
curious.
be in Lisa then, and I could leave Aletha and Pam at the office, but Letha's usually doing stuff with food, so.
Yeah.
I was just curious, Mr. Chair, if Ms. Pappas, I didn't know if the earlier question we had posed, if that was something that you were working on finding now. I didn't want to just leave it hanging if you were trying to chase something down and we just move on from it. I'd love to learn.
Being able to just recess and come back, so there is Robert's Rules of Order regarding when you can recess and how long it can be. That's what I was looking at.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
And it says.
No, staff will be over here anyway. I just thought about that.
Okay,
Yeah,
Forgot about.
Yeah.
Pam will be working with Lisa and we'll start advance.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll be over here.
because you have your other staff downtown
Yes,
anyway.
yes.
Okay. Well, she's looking that up. Just think it's important to have this discussion. Because we don't know what's coming. Hopefully nothing.
Right.
I hope all this is for, all this emergency talk is for nothing, but.
I know, right?
Yeah, let us hope for another boring election.
That's right.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
If an emergency comes up, we could have an emergency meeting and bring this to discussion again. If something new breaks.
Other than that, we'll do what we've been doing on election day.
Well, she's looking at that. I make it a habit of going to visit precincts on election day. I
Appreciate
don't
that.
know if the other three of you do.
Yeah, I know we do.
I know that I've heard though, it's, to some of the poll workers, it seems intimidating or the boss is showing up, but I come in peace, I come in,
Yeah.
please tell me what's happening. I'm not there to police
I
anything.
have my badge on, I vote on election day, and when I walk in, they say, oh, you're on the Board of Elections, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I
They
feel
just
like a
look-
celebrity
They
when
just
you
look at me,
downtown.
they don't say anything, they just look at me funny.
My picture is not on the web for everybody to see.
You're very famous.
I don't recognize your voice.
Well, we show them pictures of you guys. I just may tell you. Do you see these
Without my
people?
permission.
Wanted. No, but I want you all to be present and yeah, let them know you
Right.
and be okay that you're there.
Mhm.
The Secretary of State's office is gonna send monitors. We're gonna have our area managers out there. I mean, poll watchers are gonna be there and
On
Yeah.
that same topic, I sent you that form. Is there something that we were talking, what was that?
so yes, that's the form that the state investigators, I think, use as well.
Huh.
And yeah, we got a copy of that. And so yes, we use it to survey our locations on election day. So we know what they're looking for.
Okay,
Great.
you give us a copy, right?
Ms. Pappas,
You will give us a
what do you
copy of
think?
that.
Yeah, it was in the
So
email that.
It
Rocky
does
sent.
allow
Rocky
for taking a
Oh, okay.
recess, but it does require, announce the fact that the assembly stays adjourned or in recess to a specified hour.
Oh, I see. So it could be 72 hours, but it has to come back on.
Not specified.
Okay.
Okay,
And then
that's
in
simple.
regards to the emergency meeting,
So maybe we could open at 7, like you're talking about, be here for a couple of hours, and then set it to come back. If we're having a meeting, say from 4:30 to 5:30, that we come back at 3.
Just have 2 meetings,
Just have,
basically, or one
take a
meeting, but with a
recess,
recess
you
from
know, from the morning.
7:30 to,
And say we're going to resume the meeting at 3 or whatever time in the afternoon.
I like that. It's the most, if Robert's rules allows for that, I think that's fine.
I would want to do some independent research outside of today to
Okay.
spend a little bit more time, but I will advise you all because I don't want to make a quick
Sure.
position on.
That's fine.
Right, and then we can make an agenda, we have plenty of time, we have 2 weeks, so that's fine. All right,
And y'all won't need me for that meeting, right? That morning,
The
right?
morning.
No, not the
Okay.
morning.
No, no.
I think we literally just come in here.
Just go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Real quick, sorry, Ms. Pappas, was there something else that you were about to tell us about? I think-
The emergency meeting, so OCGA 50-14-1. Subsection C3. And I'm just gonna read straight from the code section. When special circumstances occur and are so declared by an agency, that agency may hold a meeting with less than 24 hours notice upon giving such notice of the meeting and subjects expected to be considered at the meeting as is reasonable under the circumstances, including notice to the county legal organ or newspaper having a general circulation in the county of at least equal to that of the legal organ, in which event the reason for holding the meeting within 24 hours and the nature of such notice shall be recorded in the minutes. Such reasonable notice shall also include upon written request within the previous calendar year from any local broadcast or print media outlet whose place of business and physical facilities are located in the county, notice by telephone, facsimile, or email to that requested media outlet.
So,
Can you kind of translate that?
does that mean that Athens Manor Herald
And
would just need to be notified even if it fell under the emergency?
Yes, so notice has to be reasonable under the circumstances, which is obviously going to be very fact specific. And that notice has to be included to the county legal organ or to another newspaper having general circulation in the county at least equal to that of the legal organ.
Which is, we don't have the one, so.
Right, maybe a flagpole. Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
And I will let you know that Athens Banner Herald is not published on Tuesday,
Yeah.
Mondays or Tuesdays.
Yes, that's made it so challenging for us with ads.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can still let them know whether they publish it or not.
Not our fault.
Right, okay. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Pappas.
Okay. That is-
Plausible deniability.
We can cross that bridge when we,
When we pick up the discussion.
there we go.
Bridge.
So thank you for that, Ms. Pappas. Great discussion. I think we'll wait for advice from the attorney's office, and then the secretary and I will go about our usual procedure to make an agenda if that is the case.
Okay,
So moving on. The next one is voter challenge procedures. And I sent a document to the board members this afternoon.
mhm.
And Ms. Pappas has been taking a look at it, and I don't know where she stands on it, but I have heard that there are voter challenges going on throughout the state, large numbers, and I wanted to have us to have a procedure in place should that happen, and a set of rules to follow. So I'll turn over to does any member have any comment before we?
I would like to be clear, as others might be, also clear on, like you kind of alluded to, what problem this would be trying to solve.
Right.
To help contextualize this for us. That's my initial concern.
Okay. Ms. Pappas, the floor is yours.
So when Chair Raffle brought this to my attention earlier this week, I wanted to first look at the legislative act that actually created the Board of Elections to make sure that this was something that you all had the authority to do. And according to Section 8 of that, you do have the authority. It does say, the supervisor of registrations and elections of the board shall generally supervise, direct, and control the administration of the affairs of the board pursuant to law and pursuant to duly adopted resolutions of the board. That portion right there, pursuant to duly adopted resolutions of the board, it would be my advice to you, if you intend on adopting this voter challenge procedure, that it needs to be done by a resolution of the board.
Okay.
Also looking at the Board of Elections bylaws. Under adoption policies and procedures, Section 1 indicates within its authority, the election superintendent and board of registrars for Athens-Clarke County may adopt such written policies, procedures, and protocols as the board deems appropriate. Generally, staff of the elections department will assist the board with the development and drafting of the policies, procedures, and protocols. The board may adopt them by majority vote. Any such policies, procedures, and protocols shall be kept in an organized fashion in the records of the board. Section 3, under that same heading, is no policy, procedure, or protocol permitted under this article or any portion thereof shall conflict with the laws of the state of Georgia or any applicable laws of the United States. So basically, any policy or procedure that you all go forward with
Cannot.
cannot conflict with that, but state law is going to preempt anything that you all wish to do. What Mr. Raffle and Mr. Shirley then provided to me was like a draft of the policy. The only thing is OCGA 21-2-229 is the code section that talks about challenging, and the subsection B indicates that upon such challenge being filed with the Board of Registrars, the registrars shall set a hearing on such challenge. I think the policy and procedure that you all have provided me talks about a situation where if you receive a challenge, that you may just kind of go through and reject that challenge without setting a hearing. And I think that would be in violation of this law. I think anytime there is a challenge, you have to set a hearing. Now, whether or not that challenge is upheld at the hearing, or you can immediately have the hearing dismissed because they didn't provide the correct information or the specificity, I think you can do that. But because it has the word shall, that's a mandatory, not a discretionary thing.
Can I add to, hadn't seen your document, but in the past, we did that and sent by registered mail to the voter who was being challenged, had the hearing, and they had to come and provide, we had a court reporter, and they had to come and provide proof that they should be eligible to be a registered voter.
Yeah.
And then the board made a decision if it should be challenged or not and removed from the voter list. So,
Was that the daughter and mother that challenged last year?
no, this was in my former
So
county. Yeah.
what the intent I had at least was, I believe it was December 2020s, the December 5th, 2020. We received a few
Mhm.
blanket
Right.
ones, so I'm assuming we held a hearing. I'm assuming your office,
We didn't
Right.
because
because if we held a hearing and we ruled that case dismissed, effectively, I apologize if I use the wrong words, then your office would not take further action, or would your office go through that 1,000 names and send 1,000
yeah, each individual voter would receive.
prior to the hearing, or is that what this procedure is attempting to resolve? I guess that's a question.
Sorry, I'm confused.
I
What-
know,
You mean, are you talking about what happened in
well,
the
because
previous year? Because I believe the board decided not to challenge any voters. I think that was a vote that,
the board,
the board
yeah, I don't recall what the exact details, but we
Right.
were advised for the board to essentially dismiss it.
right.
So, but in that instance, though, since we dismissed it, would your office have even taken any action yet, or would then the dismissal preempted any other further action?
Right. we
Right.
would- Yes,
I
that's
guess
right.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
mumbling. Getting to,
With you.
the only question I had, you mentioned that you're recommending resolution, but I know that, both, all the attorneys from your office, including yourself, have told us in the past that maybe just a simple vote, a motion and a vote would be sufficient. And correct me if I'm putting incorrect words in your mouth, but that was my understanding of what everyone in your office has told us over.
So I would say that yes, that probably has been the advice given
Okay.
from the office. I might be more conservative in my reading of the legislation that created you all,
Okay,
and say that best practice would be to adopt a resolution to create this policy and then
okay.
vote on the policy.
Could the resolution have all the so as, whereas, and then copy and paste this in? Okay, I'm just seeing like a huge another body of work.
Like the template that I
Mhm.
emailed you.
Yeah, or one from whatever it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you can use an old resolution and just kind of
Mhm.
to what you
Okay.
need. I mean, the resolutions don't have to be super long. It can be, whereas the Board of Elections wishes to adopt a policy and procedure regarding voter challenge.
So we could have a discussion, have a vote on this procedures we're looking at, and then after the fact, we could formally put it into a resolution and then have a, do we need to have another meeting, or can we?
So you need the resolution first.
Okay.
And then you adopt the policy and procedure.
Go ahead, Mr. Shirley.
So I'm curious then, thank you so much for simplifying. I was like, oh, it's gonna be 14 whereases and it's gonna take 3 hours. No, it can be a simple whereas. This is a procedure we like, there's a need for this. And then the text of the body of the procedure. Am I hearing that can be, the resolution can simply be, now be it hereby resolved that the following procedure is adopted, and then the text of what we had sent you could essentially be what follows after that. And that entire document could then be the resolution.
Yes, or you can do a simple resolution and say, like,
The board resolves to adopt the attached policy.
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, then, Mr. Chair, I wonder then if, considering, I've also heard about other counties that are receiving challenges that kind of can gum up the works. I wonder if we want to try and move on something like this today, I have ideas on how we can help make that happen, that begin with getting copies printed out so we can all see it, or put it up on the screen so we can see it and work on it together.
I'm in favor of that. This is really important, I think. So we're ready.
Print it.
Okay,
Right.
so then, I mean, I can email it to someone who can print it out here, if that's okay, if we can get 5-10 copies of it. Is that something, does that work? Okay, then,
email it to me.
all right, we'll do.
Sorry,
Do you have a,
my spouse is out of town and I have to pick up my child at daycare before they start charging.
Right, right, yep. Yep.
So I need to leave by 6 o'clock so that I can get there.
Understood.
okay, so let's talk about that first section that you have
So-
concern with, and then we can probably do the rest.
7.
On our own.
Is that-
I know the procedures, it was the first, so 22 or 21 to 21-2-229.
And that's listed as number 7.
Well, the whole, I mean, it's throughout. So what,
Okay.
so you're just, what are you proposing
So.
based on your interpretation? Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Everything good?
I have to have the emergency.
Mr. Chairperson, can I ask, our director a quick question?
Please.
Just from your years of experience, except for that one time in 2020, how often do we get these votes?
Never, hardly. That's why I was shocked when y'all said a lot of counties are getting them.
Mhm.
We just haven't had any. I do know one that's gonna be coming soon across your desk soon, one.
Yeah.
But, I try not to have to go through challenges because I just feel like, voters' names need to stay on there unless they move or whatever, that's me. But yeah, sometimes there's situations where there has to be a challenge of some kind. And this particular one should be challenged. Sometimes you have voters who wants to challenge other voters, and that's what happened with the challenge that I witnessed, and it had to do with a voter who was also an elected official. So yeah, so that was gonna have a whole lot of stuff going on. We was gonna have to challenge their voter registration and then challenge their candidacy, well, their elected official position, and then that was gonna result in a special election because we will have to fill the seat. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Democracy at work.
Number 6 in your proposed draft says if the Board of Election determines that a hearing on the challenge is necessary. And that's where I'm saying that 21-2-229 requires upon such challenge being filed, the Board of Registrars shall set a hearing. So it's not a discretionary thing. It's to be held, the code section says, upon the challenge being filed, they shall set a hearing.
Yeah, I don't see any problem in that.
Take the attempt out.
Yeah, is just take the word attempt out and then that solves it, or?
Yeah, if it were to read the BOE shall
Mm-hmm.
find a mutually convenient time to hold any hearing.
Yeah, so delete that if the BOE determines that.
Ah, right.
Just the whole section.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 6 pretty much can go away then. Okay. And we have paper copies coming soon, so we can all catch everybody up on this.
I was shocked when I was
Mr.
told
Fairley,
about it.
in paragraph 1,
Mhm.
second to last sentence,
Mhm.
the VOE must determine whether it says challenge, I
Mhm.
think that's supposed to be challenger.
Thank you. Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
In paragraph number 15, this is just kind of grammatical
Mhm,
things. In
please.
Last sentence, this notification letter will specify, comma, in detail, comma,
Mhm.
any basis for upholding the challenge.
Got it, thank you.
Yeah, 1 minute, Attorney Patrick.
That's right, yeah, we gotta get her out of here. Yep.
Great. That is all that I noted. when I read it.
Are you available by phone while you're picking up your kid? Good. So you don't have to say in the recording, could you write your number on a paper for me? Or, Hank, could you hand that? Well, I think we'll be fine, but go ahead.
Quick question for Attorney Papa, sorry, I know you're writing, I'll wait for you to finish, sorry. Is it fair to say then, from your, a couple days of looking over this, that besides that one, the conflict with the required hearing, were there any other concerns that jumped out to you about what the procedure would try to do?
No, I would think there may be mentioned somewhere else about
10 days?
discretion about a hearing, so.
Okay.
I know, part of me, I think, is remembering the decab version that you sent me. I know that this, and I specifically pointed out to you in an email what portions are there, so could be confusing the two, but I think there may also be another reference, and I just don't exactly know where, about the requirement of having a hearing.
Okay.
So I would just make sure that it's clear that.
Now, the National Voting Rights Act, Section 8 that I mentioned to you in your email, is that correct that it says, that said that you can't make changes to voters anyway, so many days prior to an election?
I did not get a chance to look at that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, but I guess we don't need that unless we have a hearing. We need to look about that, but, okay, if you need to go, thank you so much for, yes, we should have let you go first, but.
I didn't
didn't
think.
have-
I looked down, I was like, 5:55.
Okay. So let's go ahead and do this and do item number 3, the 4A. And then while it's
Yes.
being printed, we'll come back and then we can wrap that up and then go from there.
Okay. So you have two maps there. One shows the current location. It's gonna be the
Which-
one that says existing polling locations at the bottom, the key down at the
The
bottom.
one with the blue and the green versus the red.
Yes.
Yes, the
Yeah.
one with the blue and the green. And if you'll see way up in the left-hand corner,
Yeah.
that's where multimodal
Right.
is, which is way outside of the blue. So I will hope that we can find something inside the precinct lines. And it does limit us.
Or
Yeah, so we can corrections,
that is funny.
the corner.
I mean, I immediately go to the airport because I know there's a lot of space there.
Yes.
But the coroner.
Yes.
Correction.
And we have looked at the airport before and it will be a great place for,
What
but
about this Cornerstone Christian Academy?
you know, I was gonna ask if one of y'all would go over and have a little conversation with them
Okay.
as the board.
Well-
Didn't we used to have a relationship with them? Then they made
Heard
that
we
site.
did.
Yeah, before they moved out there, I was thinking
Yes.
that, there was some voting going on at Cornerstone.
I heard we did,
So,
and that would be centrally, like, in the center.
yeah, that's what I was
Right.
gonna ask, but the people don't live, this is all airport, so nobody lives there. So it's kind of weird the people have to travel further.
Yes.
But this is free. 'Cause
Right.
It's a county building, right?
Right.
Versus
A church.
potentially paying for a
Yeah.
church, hopefully not.
Which
you.
we're not paying any of our churches right now.
Uh-huh.
That's something we probably ought to be
But,
doing.
right,
Yeah, we paid ours $200 an election, but I was speaking with, what county was I sitting beside? They said they pay $14,000 an election
Or to a church?
to their locations.
Oh,
A total of $14,000. I think it was Gwinnett County, $14,000.
they had a bigger
election.
bank account than us.
Yes,
So up in the other corner though, what is, that's,
Animal Services,
the top left?
top left, Inclusions Office, the Sheriff's Office, and Transit.
It's outside the
Still
county.
outside
Again,
Frankfurt.
outside the
Outside the
boundaries,
limits.
yes.
We're trying to stay inside. the
Yes,
limits.
so we have the Christian Academy and we have the airport, which are, you
I
know,
think that should, yeah. Mr. Shirley, go ahead.
Just when we get a chance, there, I remember once upon a time, there was a list of, I think it was it First Pentecostal that we had considered once upon a time, that was right outside the airport. I drove around and saw these, and it looked like a
Yeah.
great, like, I was thinking great parking, looked great, like great accessibility. Has that been removed from the list for other reasons,
I
or?
don't know. I don't know if it was so big that they couldn't capture it or what. It could be that it's outside.
Right, it would be maybe just a little north of the blue line there.
Yeah.
north of Bennett,
I
So-
bet it is.
But
Is
okay.
that, oh, that's Lexington Road. So this Cornerstone Christian, is it just right
It's
here?
just- Yep,
Yeah, it's,
That's a question. Why couldn't you hold it here?
it's,
Oh, no, you can't, because we got other stuff going on.
I was thinking the same thing though,
Cornerstone
thinking
is
the
now out
same
by the
exact
tennis
thing.
center.
having this as a polling
Mhm.
precinct.
No
The tennis
worries.
center is way out.
Right there.
This is like right where we are,
Mhm.
roughly. I mean. 'cause
It really
there's-
is.
Where's Skeens or,
Yeah,
We're still blue.
Gainesville's down below.
yeah, so this is
Use the lobby.
Winterville Road.
It's a small precinct, so why couldn't we use the lobby maybe?
How about that be our third choice?
Well, parking would be an issue.
Mm,
Yeah,
Well, my suggestion would be
Yes.
because we already looked at it one time.
yeah, that's a great
Right.
parking lot too, yeah.
The reason why I'm leaning towards the church is because it's centrally located where the people live. That's my only hesitation, but
But a church not being a county building can also back out at any time, and then we've got to change location.
okay.
Okay, let's
And I
depend
can have
on
a
their
conversation tonight.
Christianity and their godliness, not to do that, okay? It's not a good look for them.
That's right.
Okay. So Mr. Shirley has spoke to the other three members. Have any questions, comments on this before we make a change or take an action here?
And I will need to do this.
Because the airport has like a multi-purpose room off the.
Yeah.
I've never been,
They have, when we went out there in 2020, there was an area that the airport administration person, I'm sorry, I don't know his title.
yeah,
Mike,
Mike showed us, it wasn't the multipurpose room. There was a reason for that at the time. It was
Right.
another area.
Uh-huh.
And it was very nice.
mhm.
The
Okay.
reason he hesitated at the time was because that was pre-COVID and they were looking at some, changes at the airport, trying to bring in some different
oh, right,
opportunities there.
right.
And he didn't know how long it would be viable,
Oh,
but I don't know if they're doing that now since
Yeah.
COVID. They may have changed their direction.
I understand.
And
Okay.
it may be more of an opportunity now than it was.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Before Mr. Shirley goes again to the three of you, any of you three have,
So are we kind of leaning towards the airport to look into first?
I don't know, that's,
Large
I think the
parcel.
discussion we're moving towards. That's my
Yeah.
first gut feeling at least,
Yeah,
but I also feel like the church is more centrally located. Cause I don't want
It
people
is.
to have to travel so far to vote. But then again, if they live here and they're going all the way up there, they're still traveling far to vote, so in theory, maybe it's closer,
I was thinking the same thing.
right?
it's closer than where they were.
All right,
But
Mr. Shirley.
Athens-
Oh, go ahead. Ann.
Athens-Clarke County
Let's do it.
owns the airport area. They can't tell us, get out, we don't want you anymore.
Right.
So that would be my leaning, whereas the church may say, well, there's been some problems with y'all being here, so
Mhm.
we can't accommodate you anymore.
Right, or there's a funeral,
Yeah, or kids are doing something. or-
vacation Bible school.
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
you know.
There's
And that's
always
what
some
you've had
things
with
like that would
schools in
come
the
up. with.
past.
Yeah.
So I think the airport should be our number one.
So I'm hearing one airport, Ms. Till, are you an airport for your first choice? Ms. Fambro, what, this is not a vote, it's just a
Straw poll.
straw poll.
Yeah, airport looks like it might be.
There are good
Okay.
roads to and
Mr.
from it,
Mr. Shirley, go ahead and then we need to.
not much traffic.
I wanted to zoom out real quick, not to get onto a motion for the last thing, but to zoom out to the process we're looking at here is, we talked about this last month, where this is not at all, of course, going to affect this election. We're looking at something to notify the voters of at the June runoff
Yes.
to then be in effect by the November.
November, yes.
Just to be
So
sure.
how long is it? 6 months?
90 days, something like that.
Yeah.
Is it 6 months or
No,
90
90
days?
days.
90 days.
90 days.
Okay,
So
so
we're trying to-
June, July, that's plenty of
Mhm.
90-day period.
And so then we would, right, we would want to just, I guess, what we'd be arriving at is whatever we were to agree on, we would then maybe plan to post at the precinct for the June runoff. The board will be considering changing the precinct, because we won't have it official by then, right? There won't be enough time to say it has been done, because hearings won't have been able to be
You
held.
may
right?
you may have by then.
Okay.
And, yes, we're gonna say, we can say potentially,
Okay.
I was-
yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay. I
That
was
was
just
an
curious.
idea
Who
here,
will
Gotcha.
decide? Who will say, yes, you can do it, no, you can't do it?
as far as using the facility,
Mhm.
Yeah,
The
the
airport
department
guy?
head.
Yeah, whoever's
I'll talk
the
to
the
head.
airport
The
guy.
airport guy.
That's up in legs.
Okay, so what I'm thinking, go ahead.
Then sorry to wrap up. I was gonna
30
say,
seconds.
I like the airport, but I would be happy to go by. It would not be timely, but it would take me about a month to get there, but I'd be happy to go by Cornerstone to have that conversation, just to see how it would go, for what it's worth.
Well, okay, what I was going to say is the the chair will entertain a motion to recommend that staff investigate the airport as our first choice and the Cornerstone Christian Academy as our backup choice, and report back at the next meeting on their recommendation. Did you hear me?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Well, I wish it was.
I also need it again. I'm sorry.
I was telling
The board will entertain a motion to recommend that staff investigate the airport, or let's say, moving precinct 4A to the airport as our first choice. And it sounds like the consensus, this is a pause now. It sounds like the consensus is Cornerstone Christian Academy as our second choice. And the director will provide recommendation at the next regular meeting. Period. Or we can, and then your recommendation, we could take an action on, like when we split all those a couple years ago. Does that work?
Yes. And you could hold like call special hearings
Should we?
for the
Yeah,
public to just come in
think we
if they
should.
want it.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
And we'll
So-
just make a presentation. This is why we're moving from here to here. Yeah.
so the first step is the board's gonna request that the staff investigate,
Mhm, mhm.
period. That's what we're doing today. And then when they come back to us, then we can decide on a hearing and
Yes.
go down there. That
Yeah,
sounds great.
pick
Okay.
2 days, 2 hearing days, and then, yeah, we can move forward with that part of that.
Okay.
Okay. So that was a motion, or
I'll make that motion.
you wanna, okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so motion, Mr. Shirley, Secretary, Mr. Secretary, Shirley, father of a young child, Mr. Secretary Shirley, and Miss Till. It's the second. All those in favor, raise your,
Should I read it back?
please.
Sorry, please, point of order, right? Motion by Mr. Shirley to recommend that staff investigate moving precinct 4A to Van Epps Airport as our first choice and Cornerstone Christian Academy as our second choice, with the director to provide her recommendation at our next meeting.
Love it. So all those in favor, raise your hand or signify by saying aye. Unanimous, look at that. We're on the right path. Let's. Okay, all right, let's go back to this procedure and then we can go home. So Adam, or I think when you're ready, Mr. Secretary, I have a question.
Oh, yes, I'm ready.
Did you capture the recommendations that Attorney Pappas made?
I did. I have on my computer, I'm entering one those changes right now. I'd be happy to loop everybody else in on their hard copy of what those changes were, if you'd like, but yes, I have captured those.
Um, why don't you just take a moment to capture all those and then we'll walk through the changes and then we can discuss and then.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I have captured what she had said as she was saying it. I got it.
Okay,
before
let's
that.
start from the top, number one, and then you go. The floor is yours.
To just present whatever changes were suggested. Okay, for paragraph one, number one at the top of the page, the suggestion, do we have enough to pass? We had, does everyone who wants one have one?
Everyone except for Charlotte. So that
Here,
goes-
I have my computer, so here, Charlotte.
So, paragraph one, and y'all please stop me if I'm going too fast. The next to last line that begins, where it says whether the challenge is registered, that should read challenger is registered.
Paragraph one.
Paragraph one. So again, that last sentence, next to last line, must determine whether the challenger would be, that was a typo.
Could you send me the link to your Google Doc so I can just look that way?
Sure.
Updated.
Oh, you're online right now. Then. Cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, just a moment. The next change that I'll try to do two things at once. The next change that was suggested that I captured was paragraph 6. That was the main discussion, the focus from Attorney Pappas. Essentially, we would strike paragraph 6 and renumber the rest of them accordingly.
Okay.
The next change that was
Strike that.
suggested.
Strike 6 in total.
In total, we figured once we took out the language about not, because basically once we were pointed out that we can't say whether, if there's a hearing, since we pointed out we have to have a hearing, that kind of took the meat out of paragraph 6.
Yeah.
We figured once that was gone, it might as well go in its entirety. The next item was, again, and the rest of these are more grammatical. Paragraph 15, it was suggested to set off with commas the phrase "in detail." The last sentence, this notification letter will specify, comma, in detail, comma. And that, Mr. Chair, is the extent of the substantive changes. I had gone ahead and, as a housekeeping thing, the National Voter Registration Act of 1993 was only mentioned once, and so it doesn't need the parentheses NVRA thing. So I was going to suggest taking that out of paragraph 3.
Which one is 3?
I'm sorry, way back up at 3. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Way back up at 3, I had tried to abbreviate NVRA for any further uses of National Voter Registration
Oh,
Act.
but it's only mentioned.
It's only mentioned
yeah.
once, so it's just superfluous.
Little
So,
grammar thing, yeah.
right, exactly.
Mhm.
And that is what I captured from Attorney Pappas.
I don't have any further changes. There's the document.
I mentioned earlier about sending notice to the voter.
Mhm.
Does it say in here?
Paragraph 3 mentions procedure to send the voter a confirmation notice. Is that, I didn't need to jump in, so.
That's okay, wait. It's like, okay, not that part.
Okay.
It's where we inform the voter that they're being challenged.
Okay.
I think it's part of
I-
that.
I
A
do
copy of
remember-
the written
Is
challenge.
it 15, 16? Any notice sent to challenge voters indicating that the board has upheld the challenge?
Yeah, I think we need to add something in there to say that it should be sent by.
Certified mail.
Yeah, certified mail.
Ooh, that does, somewhere in here, it does mention, it does specify certified mail. Maybe not where it should, but
Okay.
Section 4 and, yeah, section 4 has certified, I just did a little search.
right.
Okay. Okay,
Right.
okay, good,
Does that
good.
address
Yes,
that?
yes. Yes. Challenges to me are like over records requests. I don't care for that.
And is that kind of,
I
that,
just rather folks just.
right? And, but isn't it true that if someone were to, like, we must treat these with all the seriousness we can muster, but it does require attention and bandwidth that we have.
Yeah.
And so isn't that right, Mr. Chair? That this is kind of intended to help streamline that process.
Yeah.
So it doesn't just gum the whole works up.
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns? Ms. Fambro,
Mhm.
Not at all.
Ms. Till?
I'm good.
Shirley,
Well, I'm sorry,
Yes.
I have,
what's that?
Did this.
Some colleagues I met at Guevara or
Oh, I
however
was
we
gonna
say.
say, did y'all do this? Listen, y'all got a lot of time.
I did, it was shared with some colleagues that I
Good.
networked with at the
Yes,
conference,
that's
which is
how
the
we do
whole
it.
point of a conference.
Yes,
right.
you
Amen.
don't recreate
Yeah.
anything. You just take it out with Athens-Clarke County and do it.
Yeah,
with
it
the
was
language.
mentioned that it came from
Yes.
DeKalb County.
Okay,
You know,
Alright.
they have a lot more voters than us, so hopefully this is
Absolutely.
again, all for nothing,
yeah,
but at least we're ready.
okay,
Mhm.
good.
so I'm curious, Mr. Chair, if the next step is going to be entertaining a motion about this or putting together a resolution, I just want to be clear. Do we think it's logistically possible, having seen this? It'd be awesome if we could have this ready to go for this election. But I understand also we have an election going on right now, like I'm concerned that we might, I wonder what we can do as a board to help expedite the process of getting up on its feet for this election.
Well, I have full confidence in your copy and paste skills. We have a sample one from before, and we were just talking about exhibit A or attachment A or
Yes.
whatever language we want to use. I mean, there's this part of a resolution that's standard.
Oh, yeah,
right?
that part, I'm totally ready for that part, but I mean like the actual nuts and bolts that we're laying out here. I mean, this will take, I would imagine it would take time for staff to update, the way the office works. I just wanted to know what you thought maybe we as a board could do to help that process, not the drafting of the resolution. I think that we can knock out pretty quickly.
I think that's a question for the director, but I would just say that I have full confidence in the director's ability to do this better than any of the rest of us can. So, yeah.
And then if history is any indication, your abilities will not be tested.
Stay happy. But I can. Yeah, I can stay.
All right, then, Mr. Chair,
I
I
think
pulled up.
You take a minute and then let's pass around this cancellation report. We could do
Yes.
that while we're waiting and then.
Yeah,
So
so we
we'll
have them now in alphabetical order too, the cancellation. So when y'all look at the list, you'll see the names and
I think it was a separate packet. Well, it was separate because I have
Yeah.
the original.
Yeah. This is the last one.
I just have one question on the moved out of state. Is that from that acronym?
Eric.
Or is this,
Yes.
how do
So,
we know?
yes, so if we work our Eric list, yes, it will be on here. And if a voter has contacted us via email or
Right.
by mail to say that they've moved, they would be on this list as well.
Yeah, so, yeah, when I moved here, I got my old, and I was like, no, return to sender.
Yeah.
So if someone moves to Alabama and registers to vote, does Eric
Yes.
send you a message to say, kick them off Georgia?
Yes.
Okay.
Sort of like that.
Sure.
It comes about the
And-
same way as our, everything else, all our other reports, like our fellow reports and our,
Right, okay.
yeah, vital reports that come the same way.
Yeah, lots of people passed away.
Mhm.
But are you going to sign it and pass it around?
Yeah, so, you wanna go out of order?
Oh, no, I wasn't sure who had the copy.
I was just gonna pass to Mr. next.
Can you get on PowerPoint?
I don't mind.
Can you PowerPoint? Can you on PowerPoint? Here, my password.
What's wrong?
To what?
Firefly, I need to get on Firefly. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, can you have a moment?
Yep, go.
So I have thrown together quickly a much more simplified resolution that would read: a resolution of the Board of Elections and Voter Registration of Athens-Clarke County, Georgia, to establish a procedure for responding to voter challenges. And it has one whereas, as Attorney Pappas recommend we can say, whereas the superintendent of the Board of Elections and Voter Registration of Athens-Clarke County, Georgia desires to establish a procedure for responding to voter challenges submitted pursuant to OCGA 21-2-229. Now therefore be it resolved by the superintendent of the Board of Elections and Voter Registration of Athens-Clarke County, Georgia, and it is hereby so resolved by the authority of the same to adopt the procedure outlined in Exhibit A. Approved and adopted this blank day of May, and it's got our signature lines.
I think that's wonderful.
I can print it if we need to, but
I was gonna suggest that our motion include pending the approval of the attorney's office, just to make sure we have the commas in the right place. And then hopefully she can review it, or that office can review it tomorrow. And I'm coming down to vote on Friday. We can get some wet, what do we call it? Wet ink on paper. What's that? Wet signature
Yeah,
on the paper. I'm gonna use that.
use it correctly now.
I know, it's funny. I think it's funny.
Yes.
But I mean, if you, in case anyone would like to see what this looks like on the screen, what I just read out loud, I'm happy to pass this around, but it's,
We trust
We
you.
want you, we did
All
a
right,
great
all right.
job.
okay.
Just don't go nowhere.
All right.
Vacation though, we know vacation. coming.
Why don't we do this though? Print one copy and we can sign that copy and just, or should we wait till people come in on? Can you guys go downtown on Friday?
Let's just sign it
First.
now.
Yeah.
I just don't want
Let's just get it
Friday.
cart before the horse, but I'm fine with
I mean,
that.
we have a signature page for the last one. We could just, and that way we're just,
It doesn't have to be this week, right?
I don't think so. I mean, it'll be voted on, so it doesn't matter, but as long as
Okay.
those that vote yes, sign it.
So then I'll email a copy of this to Lisa, ask her to print out one copy of it for us real quick.
Okay.
Sorry, it's,
No, it's okay.
all right.
You just need one signature page?
Yeah. I think he's gonna print,
One signature.
It's just a one-page resolution, so just one copy of the document that's coming your way.
yeah, because we already have Exhibit A, so.
Right. Okay. And then, Mr. Chair, what we might could do is, once this comes out and we get the motion going, I'll make those changes that we went over on the big document, and I'll send the copy of that to all of us and Attorney Pappas, right, with the resolution page, I
Or
guess.
have her just get the rubber stamp to make sure that, you know.
Right.
None of us are attorneys, so.
Right.
Also, the DeKalb Board of Elections, I think 3 of 5 members are attorneys by trade, so that's also how this was written.
And I'd like to commend Mr. Raffle for doing this, even though chances of this being utilized are probably next to zero. At least we are ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just as soon as we didn't try to do something, that's when we'd have
Yeah,
so much need for it. So
yeah.
I've sent that off.
Let's see, wait a minute. And we added one other thing for number 3, didn't
We just moved old
Moved
business
old
3
business
to
to
new
3.
business 3.
we? Mhm. Mhm.
Mr. Chair, it looks like, just for housekeeping purposes, it looks like the motion could be as simple as to approve the resolution, not specifying what it is, and then I was thinking it had to be the resolution about procedures to the,
Mm-mm,
So-
mm-mm, no.
Well,
pending the, right, whatever we wanted to, when we get there, added on
Yeah.
attorney approval.
the chair will entertain a motion unless we want to wait for the paper copy.
What are you making a motion for this one?
Approving or not approving that resolution. Exhibit A, thanks very much.
I make a motion to approve the resolution.
pending.
Pending
Pending.
approval by,
Pending, research from the, attorney office.
Attorney.
Attorney's office, yeah, not just us specifically, but. the
Yeah,
attorney's
and
office.
then it's just the understanding that there might be a few little
Things
edits
that need to be.
to the
tweaked.
exhibit A, but we still adopted a resolution. So.
Mhm.
All right. Was that a second or a question?
I was gonna second it.
Second by Mr. Till, motion by, Mr. Till. No, that,
Whoa. Did you need a Powerball?
uh-oh, I do. Ran out of coffee, so, or maybe it was too much coffee. All right, motion by Miss Till, Miss Ann Till. Motion or a second by Mr. Secretary Shirley Father,
statesman.
statesman, yes. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting this resolution we just worked on, raise your hand. And signify by saying aye. Okay,
Aye.
unanimous. All right, she passes. So let's pass it around and sign it.
Okay. In the blue.
I'm gonna fill in the date, 10,
Please.
little blank spot here. And you made fun of my signature last time, but compared to the other one, it's
It
exactly
looks
the
just
same.
like the other one.
Yep. And while that's passing around, announcements, and then we can be done here. The June regular meeting is on Tuesday, June 14. And that will be at the planning department and that the planning department downtown.
June 14th is Flag Day, and I will not be, I'll be out of town, Wisconsin,
Okay,
one of my few vacations this year.
how dare you take it?
Exactly.
I actually come into town on the 13th, so
Oh,
I came for Flag Day. Friday's last day to submit an application for an absentee ballot as previously discussed. May 23rd is the last day to register to vote if you wish to vote in the potential June 21st runoff. And the election, what is this? May 24th is,
Adam?
absentee ballots must be received by 7 PM in the elections office on May 24th. The chair will entertain and give a question before we.
I do,
shut this
Mr. Chair, I'm
down.
sorry for announcements. I don't believe the agenda included, maybe, and that was my error. The announcement about our special meetings in May, the certification meeting and the,
Oh, yeah,
right?
that's. that was a
Apologize.
Good catch.
that's on,
The
I have it on my
31st.
calendar.
April first.
31st.
Yeah.
Y'all had to approve whether y'all wanted to do that at or not.
Okay,
That's why it's tentative.
okay.
May 31st for the certification. I
Then-
can't believe y'all said y'all wanted to get together before then, just to review what was going on. I think that date is May 26th.
Yeah, I have May 26th at 4:30.
Okay. So I will,
Mr. Secretary,
Uh-huh.
could we get together later this week and knock out agendas for those?
absolutely.
And we can, I guess, cancel them if not necessary, but at
And
least,
those files.
Yeah.
Send us a-
same procedure, but we'll just,
So just to be, for my notes for what become the minutes for this meeting, we have one meeting on the 24th at,
26. Oh, the 24th.
24th, yeah,
Yes.
it's a part of the, people we voted on today, that's part of their duty.
No.
No,
The 24th is election day.
Right.
that's right, election
We're
day.
doing the 7 AM to 7:30.
I can leave that TBA. Sorry, what, did we get clarification?
I
on what
thought we
can do?
came, Ms. Till suggested 7 to 7:30, stand in recess till she suggested 3,
Like 3.
3:34, or whatever.
I think that works. If that works for y'all, as long as y'all.
And then from then on, we'll be here, so
Yeah,
if it's
yeah,
open, we just need to make sure we
from
close
7
it.
to 7 to noon, or is it 7 to 1?
Noon's good.
Well, we only. You wanna do 7,
7 to noon. And then we'll come back at 3.
well, I thought we were doing like 7 to 7:30.
look, just, yeah, because we aren't really going to be here.
Right,
after that.
but
We're
Attorney
suspended.
Pappas said
Yeah.
that we could take a recess.
That's the 24th,
we-
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the 24th
we need a break somewhere because we were gonna be here then from 7 to maybe 10 o'clock.
That's right.
Depending on how many people
Right,
vote.
right.
We'll
So I
be there
thought-
at 11 o'clock.
The recess will be from 7:30 AM to 3 PM.
That's not,
No,
that's not what I'm saying is, from 7 to 12, we'll be present. We will take a break at 12 and resume at 3 because likely we're gonna be at here until 10:30 or 11 o'clock that night.
Right.
So we need
So we
some
need a
kind of
break.
stretch in there to rest and respite. I know I do. That's what I thought I heard. I might be incorrect.
That's right.
From 7 to 12 noon,
Mhm.
and from 12 noon to what time do we meet? 4:30, we meet at 4:30?
We'll meet at 4:30.
Okay,
So if we're
so
here from 3 for our, resume our meeting until 4:30.
can we pinch out another 45 minutes to be like from 12 to 3:40?
3:45, whatever you suggest, I'm
well,
willing.
4 too, I would see.
Yeah, since we don't need to be here at 4:30, so from 12 to 4, get a
12 to
4-hour
4.
break.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was just a suggestion.
So the 4 of us will be here and then we can
Mm-hmm.
tap in and out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cause even then, from 12 to 4,
Maybe
I'll
you could
probably be.
do a shift on the phone.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to.
I hope that's possible.
I have questions, but it's not my party. It's y'all's party. But I'm just like,
So no, we ain't gonna bother you.
but I mean, like, it's y'all's,
You on vacation.
if 7 to noon, like y'all are saying, you'll sit here from 7 to noon, not do anything else, but sit here from 7 to noon?
We're
No,
probably gonna tag out a little bit.
for 7 to noon, maybe
We'll eat.
these 3,
Gotcha.
myself, and then Miss Fambro can go
Trying to check on
a couple
stuff.
places, and then she said, well, I'm on my way back.
Then
Mhm.
I'll go vote.
Miss Hill can go vote, make sure the train depots,
I got you.
tennis center.
Because if it seems, I'll say very briefly about this. So what if y'all said, we never have our end times built into our meetings, right? We always say we will begin at this time when we go until the work's done, and then we're done. So if you said we'll meet at 7 AM, then meet at 12 noon, then meet at, right? And that way you're not staking yourselves to be here. Right? That way you're all free to,
We'll have a quorum between these time periods.
that way you're guaranteeing the public that no business will be taken care of. Like, we'll do all the business we have from 7 AM until whenever. And then we stand in recess and we'll have a posting out there about it. And we'll be back here at
Come back
3.
our regular meeting that we have. Mhm.
That way you don't have to spend your check. You can-
5:30.
12 until 4th, whatever time she says, we can visit polling
That's why I
places.
said I was gonna take some time to
We
go
can,
around.
we can
a
do
little bit.
Right? I just,
board business during that time.
I was suggesting that's, and again, I don't want to put,
Go get
I like
food
your
and whatever.
idea.
So just put the starting time, that's it.
7, noon, and 4.
and that way no business, like you'll do all the work in the pile at those times until the work is done.
Or,
Then we
I
adjourn.
mean, to make this simple, it could just be 7, we convene, check in,
Yeah.
adjourn.
Yeah.
Noon, convene,
Yeah.
check in, adjourn.
I don't know,
Or-
didn't Attorney Pappas say something about so many times like that?
She said we had to be careful. We
Yeah.
had to be careful.
Careful, yeah.
She made
I think
mention of
more simple,
meeting and
simple.
adjourning, meeting and adjourning, meeting
Well,
and adjourning.
I'm not an attorney, but Robert's rules is, it's not the law, for one.
Right.
And 2, I don't see anything outrageous about this plan.
Yeah, that's true. My notes showed that Attorney Pappas said that whenever she cited state law, it was about the emergency meeting thing, not the
That's not, that don't
recesses and
concern
things
us.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's literally 3 pieces of paper instead of
because
1.
when we
Right.
come together at 7 that morning, the staff could have, briefed us, what's going on, and not the whole staff. They can even send us a email or something, they ain't got to show up. But we can kind of figure out if there's anything that we need to be doing throughout this day, this election day.
so then, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. So then wrap it up for secretarial purposes. What times would y'all like those meetings that day to convene? 7 AM. I heard 12 noon.
4,
Mm-hmm.
that works for me,
Mhm.
work for you?
Okay.
Everybody's
So that-
happy?
That way you and I can work out how you want the agendas to look, 3 separate agendas at those times, whatever.
Yeah.
And then,
I
okay,
think we might need to ask the attorney's office the best way to publish that.
Right.
But
Yeah,
okay,
that way it's 3 meetings.
got it.
Yeah.
Now then those 3 are done. Now, does that also then sort of roll in the meeting we always usually have on election day at around?
yeah,
Time.
that's
That's the
cause
4.
we're coming back
That's
at
the 4,
4,
got it.
and the meeting
Okay.
starts at 4:30.
Got it. That's election day.
Mhm.
What was the review for me, please, so I can have the minutes? What are the times and the dates for the provisional?
May
meeting?
26th,
Okay.
4:30 to 6:30,
Mhm.
and May 31st, 10 to
10.
1.
Uh-huh.
And June 1st, I'm out of town, so I'm gonna wrap it up on the 31st.
And then did we want to have those end times specified?
No.
4:30 to 6:30, that kind of stuff? Just say 4:30 PM?
Yeah.
All right,
What about June first? We don't have.
Nothing.
No, I
We
hope
don't.
by June the 1st, everything we doing like this.
I'm leaving town.
Get ready for
Sit
the-
down somewhere.
get ready for the holiday.
And first it's from 10 a.m. until 1.
Hopefully I'll be
And
proving
will it be here?
the ballot.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Those two meetings should be here, right?
Yes.
Everything is always here unless it's the regular meetings.
yes.
I think
26,
Election stuff, yes.
4:30 until,
I mean, just for your
I'll
own
leave it
planning
out.
purposes,
Mhm.
I put down 4:30 to 6:30, but
Okay.
hopefully it's 4:30 to 5:02.
okay.
Mr. Chair, my notes then will show May special meetings, Tuesday, May 24th, 7 a.m., noon, 4 p.m., Thursday, May 26th, 4:30 p.m., Tuesday, May 31st, 10 a.m., all at 2555 Lexington.
Like that? Everyone else happy?
Yeah, I have a question if I'm not out of order
You-
for,
Go ahead.
Director Solsky. Is there anything that we need to be doing Saturday and Sunday, with the, other poll places? Do you guys need any help or?
We don't have
Okay, y'all
anything.
got it
Yeah.
covered?
Got it.
Okay,
We got it. Thank y'all for offering though.
And
You're
y'all don't have
welcome.
to come out here on Saturday unless you just want to, but
Early tabulation.
more than 2 people,
Right,
so
right.
that y'all not.
have a forum, right.
And then I'll be here helping
you-
Lisa on the
you did that?
23rd
Resolution.
with
Did
elections.
With the equipment and stuff.
You or I don't know who would
I'll
be
give it
the,
to
who the record keeper is.
I'm definitely giving it to Letha.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. The time is 6:41 PM.
Right, a motion?
I so move.
Motion by Ms. Till.
It don't
Oh,
matter.
so moved by Ms. Fambro.
That's
Let's
good.
get Ms. Fambro on the record here. So moved. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all very much.
Lord, I got 3 stores to go through and I'm so hungry. Uh-oh, cut the mic off.
Very revealing, isn't it?
Oh, God.
Anything exciting going on out there in the corner?
Oh, Lord. Sounds so fun.
Just more business.